Kirtland City Council meeting for Wednesday, February 21st. Everybody can stand. To the prayer, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord Jesus, we thank you for a beautiful day, sunny day here in Ohio. We thank you for allowing us all to gather here safely. We pray for your hand of protection on our police, fire service department, and our city council and residents of Kirtland. In your name, we pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Eric. Ms. Raleigh, roll call, please.
Mr. Hamer,
Here.
Mr. Scholes,
Here.
Mr. Smolik,
Here.
Ms. Simons,
Here.
Mr. Ziegler,
Here.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Here.
Ms. Grazia,
Here.
Okay, on to the reading and approval of the minutes of January 16th, 2024, combined meeting.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions, changes, discussions? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Okay, on to the minutes of the February 5th, 2024 work session. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, changes, questions? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Minutes of the February 5th, 2024 council meeting. I need a motion.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion, changes? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Okay, on to department reports. Chief Hutton.
Thank you, Mr. Smolik. No formal report tonight. Just to let council know, we finally received all of our extrication equipment from the grant from last year. It took us almost a year to get everything in. The battery operated extrication tools, we've had those for a while. Those are already in service. We received the airbags, a whole new set to replace our 25-year-old set, and rescue jacks for vehicle stabilization, which is something we haven't had. So that's added to our vehicles. I want to thank Mike's Auto Salvage for dropping off a couple cars for us, and Mr. Fernaro for getting them set up and, tipping them on the side. So you'll probably see our crews out behind the service department doing a lot of training over the next week or so. Other than that, I'm looking forward to working with council on the budget process this year, and I'm open for questions.
Any questions for Chief Hutton? Chief Hutton, refresh my memory on the battery powered. What kind of its own equipment, or they run like on a Milwaukee or DeWalt, that type of thing? Or is
Yes, all of our batteries now are Milwaukee, and we're using them for all of our extrication tools, our spreaders, rams,
there M18 battery,
cutters.
M18 systems, is that what that is? Okay.
We have the 18 volt is what we have. All the chargers are mounted on the vehicles. You're starting to see like our Sawzalls and other equipment that we buy. We're starting to use everything with the exact same batteries.
I'll have to talk to Mr. Hamer here. I think he owns every piece of Milwaukee equipment possible out there, don't you, sir?
Chief, does that equipment have the same power behind it relative to a gas unit?
Yes, it actually is more powerful, if you can believe that. So it's just new technology.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So long as the windmills don't go up. Thank you, Chief. Chief McAllister?
Thank you, Council President Smolik. Just want to report we got Julia back over in the schools teaching the DARE program for the first time, and she's been having a good time over there, getting to know the kids. We're looking forward to a lot of the relationships we're able to build there. I think she's going to be have a huge impact on our community with that program and really be a resource for us. Other than that, I have nothing else, so that'll conclude my report. I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any question for Chief McAllister? Thanks, Chief. Mr. Fenaro.
Good evening, everybody. Crews have been taking advantage of the nice weather, keep up ditching. Actually, baseball season, they started practicing today, so they got the fields ready down at the rec park. And since it was 60 degrees today, I thought I'd give you a snow update. So this year, we had 26 events so far. We're at 1,887 tons of salt. Compared to last year at this time was 27 times we were out, and we were up at 2,500 tons of salt. So down a little bit, one less event, so everyone, it's a mild winter, but we're on par from last year. And we ordered an additional 1,000 tons of salt today. That'll complete my report.
That close out the salt for the year then too?
We
For
still have
deliveries?
1,400 tons to get.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Fenaro? Thank you, Joe. I guess you guys had people out, was that Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, the crews were
Okay.
out all week.
Didn't get a whole lot, but obviously
whole-
iced up a bit though, right?
Not a whole lot. The south end of town got it worse than the north end as usual. And there's some weather in the forecast for this weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Fenaro. Any other questions? Thanks again. Mr. Courtney?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Related to the 2024 streets, we have our draft street list and some preliminary estimates that we're still going through. We're pretty close, working out the final numbers on that. Old Town sewer improvements contracts with Shivers Construction should be approved and signed by the commissioners early next week, either late this week or early next week. We're expecting a late March, early April start on that project. Specifics related to the actual start date and construction sequence will be provided after we have a pre-construction meeting with the county and Shivers Construction. So there'll be more to report on that once that happens. Bridge projects, the 306 bridge over the Chagrin, that is expected to start in mid-March. Joe has an email out to ODOT to confirm if that's going to be the case. We'll let you know when we hear back from that. The Booth Road Bridge was supposed to start this spring. Apparently, they've had some hangups with ODOT comments, and they've been delayed. Waiting for an updated schedule from the county on that one. That's all I have. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Courtney. Any questions for Mr. Courtney?
Mr. Courtney, 306 bridge again. What's the timing when they start mid-March? How long will that be?
Mid-March through late October, I believe. And then it'll be one-way traffic southbound. Northbound traffic will be routed.
There you go. And Mr. Courtney, I'll probably ask you this every time on this one, just like I say, to repeat the dates. And it's going to be open, one lane's going to be open southbound for the entire project?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Just so everybody gets to hear that and knows it's coming, so.
Right.
Okay, appreciate that. Any other questions for Mr. Courtney? Mr. Slapnicker?
Thank you, Council President Smolik. As many of you know, January and February is our busiest time of the year in the finance department. So I just wanted to give a big thank you to our staff over there for bearing with it and getting the job done. We've completed all of our tax reporting, W-2s, 1099s, PES reporting, from implementing the new CBA changes, USDA reporting as part of some of our outstanding loans, closing 2023 to opening 2024. So just a big thank you to them. We've begun our 2023 basic financial statement gap conversion. And again, just to reiterate, that is where we convert our cash basis financials into an accrual basis. And that accrual basis is then audited by the auditor of state. So we've begun that process as well. We had our first meeting on the 2024 appropriations. So we look forward to having another meeting prior to our next council meeting. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Slapnicker. Any questions for Lewis? As Lewis noted, we met before a council meeting. We'll be doing it for the next two council meetings, early session, 6 o'clock, where we're discussing the budget. It's been presented by the administration with everybody's request on that. Going through with council ask any questions pertaining to it. We'll have at least one more good discussion next week where we'll finish it up. And then that will go to a third reading on, will that be March for the final reading? March? I don't even remember what the date is on that. Regardless, we have 3 readings on that. So thank you, Lewis. for all-
March 20th.
March 20th, okay. Thank you for all the work you've been doing on that, Lewis, and very good detail. Any questions for Mr. Slapnicker? Mr. Lallo?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I don't have too much to offer tonight. Just lately been working on the pending litigation that we have, a couple different cases, responding to some different record requests. And really, aside from that, you do have the current legislation that's on the table. I'm open for any questions you have as it relates to the legislation or anything else that might come to mind.
Thank you, Mr. Lallo. Any questions for Mr. Lallo? Thank you, Matt. Ms. Zeri, what's going on at the Community Senior Center?
Good evening, Council. It's nice to see everybody. Again, to echo other departments, thank you to Mr. Slapnicker and the Finance Department for working so closely and so well and keeping us informed on this budget process. There's always a lot going on at the Community Center. This coming month is no different. Our annual St. Patrick's Day Slyman's Lunch, one of our largest in-house events, is coming up on the 14th. If anyone from council or department heads would like to join us, please let me know. We can reserve you a spot. We're also excited that Chief McAllister will be coming to present to the seniors at the end of March as well. So lots of good things coming up. It's very busy. We're also in the midst of planning the spring and summer city events. So mark your calendars for the 23rd. Saturday, March 23rd is our Easter egg hunt. And we will see who the Easter Bunny will be this year when he shows up, he or she shows up. So that's at 10:30 outside here at City Hall. So it's always great to have council and departments available for that event. Any questions? I am available.
Thank you, Ms. Zeri. Any questions for Ms. Zeri? Thank you, Teresa. On to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President Smolik. Just a few quick things. I know we had a good meeting, and I want to thank Louis Slapnicker, Finance Director, for all of his preparation. I think if you see those dashboards and all the work that goes into preparing a city budget, having all of those line items total up to what they're supposed to be, it's an incredible amount of work, and I want to thank our department heads for patience and really sharpening pencils in terms of what we need to make our city government work. So thanks to everybody for that. Quickly, the Shamrock Shuffle and Shenanigans is going to take place on March 9th. That'll start here. The race, it's a 5K race, and that's the shuffle part, and the Shenanigans then is the piece afterwards with a band across the street at Sausalito. So the race will start here and then finish up across the street. So welcome everybody to come out. You don't have to run or walk to participate. You can come and cheer the runners on, and then if you can't be there that early in the morning, then show up at Sausalito. But it's for to raise some money for a tremendous cause, which is the Miracle League of Lake County. If you're not familiar with the Miracle League, look it up. Look at some Facebook posts. They do amazing work with special needs children here in Lake County. It was a kind of a really important pet project of a good friend of mine, Dennis Morley, former mayor of Eastlake, who passed away last month or in January, and I guess that was last month. And it was really important to him, so I thought it's appropriate that this year we maybe do something to raise a few more funds for that group. They play games over at they practice and play games at Captain Stadium. I've not been to one, but I can tell you I'll be there this year. But I've seen plenty of videos. It's really an amazing group, and what they do for those kids. And you want to talk about smiles. So, that is that on March 9th in support of that. It's going to be the 3rd annual Shuffle and Shenanigans. We'll see what the weather brings. The first year was an ungodly amount of snow in a short period of time with 40-mile-an-hour north winds and about 22 degrees, 18 degrees maybe. Last year, the day was beautiful, but the day before, I spent the entire day trying to hold down a tent out here in the front lawn of City Hall from about 9 in the morning to midnight because it was gale force winds. So it's going to be inside this year, the after event, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, we talked about the shuffle and shenanigans, talked about the budget. Again, there's obviously a ton to talk about here over the next 4 weeks or 6 weeks in terms of the budget. Thanks to Ron, Councilman Fenstermaker, for setting up a Service Department Committee meeting for this weekend. That's a big piece of it to talk about our road program in 24, the road program at large. And then I think we'll be doing another Finance Committee meeting, and I think the next one's going to focus, as Lewis said, on capital. So we are fortunate enough this year to be able to, present in the budget a really healthy amount of capital, both in equipment and maintenance items for some of our buildings and grounds. So it felt good to be able to work through this budget and then still walk into next year with the projected, $1.1 million carryover. So it's good stuff going on, but thanks for your input, your forthcoming input. And if you have any questions, certainly feel free. I'm open for those.
Thank you, Mayor Potter. Any questions for the mayor?
Mayor, could you give us an update on the phone system upgrade?
I would love to. But I don't have one tonight. I know it's in the works.
Okay.
And I think the target date was sometime in March, last I remember, but I will check in with Jim Gibbs.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? That's outstanding. You guys picked the Miracle League. I'm actually am real good friends with the gentleman who runs it, Michael Piper. He's done a fantastic job with that organization. I've donated it to myself just recently, and it's outstanding what they do over there. Any other questions for the mayor?
One more thing, Councilman Smolik, or Council President Smolik. We do have our council meeting the day after Easter on that April 1st. Is there any interest in moving that out a day or two? Just people do a lot of traveling during that time, and obviously the Easter holiday is pretty packed. Is important.
This is a practical joke, right, Mayor, that you don't want to have it on April 1st?
Say again?
This is a practical joke.
I don't think we should have you at the dais on April 1st. Is really the crux of it.
I'm open if you need to move the meeting. Anybody have anything going on? That would.
I'm fine if we move April
I'm
1st.
good too.
to
You're fine
Wednesday.
with April 1st?
No, I'm fine if we move it
Okay.
from April 1st to the 3rd.
You want to make it the 3rd?
Yep. You want to be here
Okay.
on the
I
3rd?
think the finance director would appreciate this. Law director would
Why is the
appreciate
one
it.
on the 20th getting moved?
Say again?
Why is it one on the 20th? Is there something in there, Monday?
Julie's out of town, right?
Voting?
You say you couldn't make it?
Oh, March 20th, Eric? That's
Oh, okay.
election day.
Julie can't make it either way, the 1st or the 3rd, so.
So the 2nd? Come on.
You can zoom me in.
That's right.
So we got to go with the 3rd, then April 3rd? Is that
That's what you guys want to start.
Council all right with that?
First.
Ms. Rowley, if you'd want to make that change then? April 3rd to replace the April 1st meeting?
Here's what it is.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, anything else then? Anything else then? Okay. Okay, on to standing committee reports. Mayor Potter mentioned standing committee, if you'd want to update that, Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yeah, just that we had our first meeting to talk about the 24 roads and PGR, and we're going to have the 8 a.m. meeting on Saturday, Service Department, to talk about 24 plan
At Service Department?
at the Service Department,
Okay.
right?
And that is,
Did we want to have it at the Service Department, or did we want to have it here?
that is you, Mr. Hamer, and myself.
Okay,
correct?
okay, I'll drive that far. They can do it. I'll just pick you up. No, no, we'll have it here, 8 a.m. on the 24th.
Just as long as Scott doesn't fall off out of any ceilings anytime soon, so.
Yes.
Councilman Fessmaker,
Yes.
relative to the PowerPoint you sent out.
Yeah.
Will you be going over that in open session, or is it still a work in progress?
I mean, I wasn't planning on going over it in open session, but it is still a work in progress. So I can give probably a more firmer update after we meet this Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else, Mr. Fenstermaker?
No.
Okay. The Service Committee meeting this Saturday. Any other standing committees for council? Not at this point. Okay, on to correspondence, and there was none for this meeting. On to public comments on matters not on the agenda. Public has anything they'd like to ask or bring up, council? Thank you. On to old business. Public comments on agenda items of old business. Open to the public on any comments they have on current legislation. Not at this time. Ordinance number, on to old business. Ordinance number 24-0-7, second reading. An ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, 2024 Energized Community Grant and declaring an emergency. And Mayor, that was a grant for, what was it, 10?
I think it's 30,000 typically.
30,000, okay. What was that going to be used for this year?
Mr. Finaro. Oh, for upgrades to the restrooms related to energy efficiency.
Okay. Thank you. And that'll go on to a third reading. Any discussion? Question, Matt?
No, we were just commenting, it's the restrooms at the community senior center to make them more energy efficient, if I'm not mistaken.
For the outdoor restrooms, yeah.
Outdoor restrooms, and upgrade to a couple overhead garage doors.
Thank you. On to new business. Public comments on agenda items of new business. Public comments on new. Thank you. On to ordinance number 24-0-10, an ordinance setting the appropriations for the year 2024. Any discussion? On to resolution number 24-R-11, a resolution authorizing transfer of funds and declaring an emergency. Any discussion? On to ordinance number 24-0-12, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of $2,647,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of retiring together and with other funds available to the city's outstanding various purpose notes, Series 2023, dated April 19th, 2023, and declaring an emergency. Any discussion? On to ordinance number 24-013, and ordinance, did I miss one? No. Yeah. On to ordinance number 24-0-13, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of $2.5 million or $2,500,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying cost of improving streets by reconstructing, resurfacing, grading, draining, paving, and making other improvements as designated in the plans approved or to be approved by council and declaring an emergency. We'll go to three readings also. Any discussion on that? On to ordinance number 24-0-14, an ordinance amending section 236.02 of the codified ordinances of the city of Kirtland relating to expenditures and competitive bidding and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lallo, did we want to?
I think we have time on that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's anything pressing to wait the three readings.
No, I think it merits some discussion, so I'd say let's at least give it till next meeting and plan on having some discussion.
And pertaining to that, if you could just give a little more info, basically we're going from $50,000 to $75,000 that has to go out to bid on any items that have to go out to bid.
Correct. There's a state law that regulates this. And previously it capped it at 50,000 was the bidding. Once you hit 50,000 or more, then you have to set it for competitive bidding.
Was it stuck there? That's been there ever since I bid in. How long's that been at 50,000?
I don't know
10,
the
15
answer to
years?
that. Yeah, I think it's been for a while.
Okay.
So it was at 50,000 and then going into effect, I think in September of 23, and for the fiscal calendar year 2024, it increased to 75,000. And then for every year thereafter, it increases by 3%. So now they have it tied in, so it's going to be a moving.
Inflation rate.
Correct. So it's going to be 3% every year. And that's what the state allows. So the real question, and then we have our own municipal ordinance that previously mimicked or copied the state law that capped it at 50,000 to do so. So we kind of had to do a rewrite of our city ordinance to incorporate those provisions.
Thank you,
Right. I guess I appreciate the explanation that it's more of a mimicking of the state law.
Yes.
The impetus for the change. I do like some language in here saying, Mayor, that you'll still keep council apprised of the informal bidding process. So appreciate the thoughtfulness there. So thank you.
Correct. So essentially the 25,000 or 25,000 or less, the mayor has authority to make those purchases without going before council.
And that isn't changing. That stays the
That
same
is
as
not
it
changing.
currently is.
The informal bid process that still requires an act of council is 25 to 75.
Okay.
So, that's where it increases that amount. And then just having to set it out for bids goes from 75 and up.
I guess there can be some advantages to be able to take advantage of equipment like a police car or something that falls
Absolutely.
under there. And normally would have to put out for bid, but you could-
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, with the increase of vehicles, whether you're retrofitting a police car now, to be able to buy the car and to buy it like stocks with like the lights and everything else, you're at that price or you're getting close to that price now. So, and to have to bid it out or buy it on state bid, that's something that you'd have to consider.
And just a note to the public on that for police cars, I think when Kevin and myself started on council, police cars equipped were like $30,000 to $35,000.
I think it was less than 40.
Yeah, 35,000. I believe our newest car that we just got was 50 or 61,000.
60 plus.
Yeah, so fire truck, good example of that. We paid 400,000 for a fire truck back in 2017. That's our newest one. We're looking at starting to put some money down on a new one that we'd like to purchase in maybe a couple of years. That was at 800,000 last year, and it might even be higher now. Chief, are we near $1 million now almost?
We're approaching $1 million.
Okay, for the same truck, basically, correct?
Right, the last quote, it was 381 in 2017, and we're up around 873 right now with the current bid, but that may go up.
Now, the car market's about ready to collapse this year, so hopefully the fire trucks go down too, so. Okay, that was pertaining to the, which one did we?
13.
14? Okay, so
Their sugar daddy.
basically, Matt, next year that'd be $75,000 for 2024, and 3%, meaning it'd be 77,000 or 77,250 the following year, and then 3% going forward. So obviously, every year we're going to have to.
No,
We won't have to on that.
no, because the way I kind of reworded the ordinance, it's built in. So
Okay.
for the calendar year 2024, it's 75,000. For every calendar year thereafter, in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 9.17A2, the competitive bidding threshold amount shall be increased by 3% over the previous year.
Okay.
So, and then if it meets or exceeds that figure, then you have to do competitive bidding in accordance with Division E of that same ordinance. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Okay, on to ordinance number 24-0-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 883 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Kirtland regarding municipal income tax and declaring an emergency. Matt, I believe you wanted to discuss this one a bit?
So I think Mr. Slapnicker can take the reins on this. There's only a few changes on it, to be clear. I did have Ms. Raleigh send you over a red line version of this as well. There wasn't a whole lot of changes, but I'll give a little background of the like some of the changes between 883 and 882, because we're looking to repeal in 24016 Chapter 882 That, back in 2015, there was a change to the tax code as well. It went through the end of 15, and then there was a new one that started in 16. So we had two different tax codes. One went through that year, and then 883, that chapter, started January 1 of 16. We no longer need chapter 882 because it was only in effect through 15. So that's 16, we're going to repeal
Obsolete.
that. And then some of the changes in 883 are merely like the title, just taking out the effective January 1 of 16, and some other changes that I will allow Mr. Slapnicker to address.
Yeah, so House Bill 33 was mandated for a city to incorporate these changes. I provided council a summary of them, some of which are extending filing dates. No one under the age of 18 is subject to municipal withholdings tax. It's capping late fees. And there's a section about JEDs and JEDZs which don't apply. So council has the summary, but again, we're mandated by the state of Ohio to incorporate these changes into our code.
Okay, now we're requesting that we waive the 3 readings and declare an emergency tonight, correct?
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
A second.
Councilman Schultz and Councilwoman Grazia, thank you. Any discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
And then we need a motion to declare an emergency.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. On to ordinance number 24-0-16, an ordinance repealing Chapter 882 of the codified ordinances of the City of Kirtland regarding earned income tax regulations effective through December 31st, 2015. And this is a rider, goes along with the previous one, Matt? Yes. And requesting, obviously, waive the 3 readings and declare an emergency.
Motion to
Or
waive
we
the
don't need to declare it. Question, though. We didn't need to-
We didn't need to declare an emergency and
Gotcha,
adopt. It
okay.
doesn't need to go into effect immediately.
Okay.
That's correct. That's why it's not written in the legislation. There's no need for
Okay.
that.
But we need the motion to waive the 3 readings and a
It'd be
motion to
good
pass.
just to have it run
Okay.
congruent
Motion to
with the
waive
other.
the 3 readings.
Mr. Ziegler with the motion?
The 3 readings.
Second, Ms. Grazia? Did you get that, Denise?
I didn't hear the second.
Eric Ziegler made the motion. Ms. Grazia seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Councilman Schultz
Second.
and seconded by Councilwoman Grazia. Thank you. Any discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Ms. Simons,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Thank you, Matt and Mr. Slapnicker, for the explanation on those. On to council comments. At this time, any council comments? Continuing concerns?
Do we hand,
Oh, sorry.
do we need to have a utilities meeting?
Pertaining, for the opening bid, you mean?
No, for the like wastewater treatment or anything like that?
I think that would be great.
Wastewater treatment meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, you want to just kind of kick it around and we'll get back to them, or do you want to set the meeting right now?
How much time do you think we need? An hour?
half hour start.
Okay. We do before or after a meeting?
Okay, we've got the, obviously, budgetary, the next 2, so we'll have that booked up before if we want to probably work out better after a council meeting than for something like that, Mr. Fenaro?
That'll work.
If it's going to be one of the next 2.
Yeah, I'm fine with anything.
Okay. After the next council meeting, book a utilities committee meeting.
Who's on that committee, Joe? Matt, Scott,
Utility,
and
that's yourself. Does that work with you, sticking around after the next council meeting? Okay. And Scott, you want to do that immediately following?
You could use the bathroom if you need to, but yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So will that be the 4th?
That's what I.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Hamer, I would suggest the second one, the second meeting. I know we're getting further out, but I'd like to meet at one of the plants.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
So,
What's the meeting?
so on the 18th, you want a field trip?
No, the 20th, isn't it?
Wear your boots.
They're fun.
He's always got them on, man.
Bring your nose plugs. They're a lot.
So what date is that?
The 20th, March 20th.
Wednesday, March 20th.
So after our other meeting, we're going to go,
It'll be dark.
Field trip.
Saturday morning, maybe?
We could talk about the next meeting after that. So let's just do the first meeting, and then we could schedule the next one on a Saturday.
So the second meeting will be the meetup, okay.
Correct.
Just don't schedule the meeting above a ceiling, right, Scott? Like above any rafters?
so when's the meeting?
March 4th, after the regularly scheduled council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And what's the purpose of this?
Wastewater treatment,
To discuss the wastewater treatment plants.
correct.
Thank you.
Hold on, guys, I gotta put that in my phone. Okay, any other council comments? Any continuing concerns? Motion for adjournment?